October 20th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, a guy who believes complimentary barbecue is winning barbecue, J.P. Shadrick.
Do I want the platter? Yes, I want it all. Welcome in. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. I'm J.P. Shadrick. It's Thursday. It's Week 7. The Giants and the Jaguars coming up at the bank in a busy 2 hours ahead. Analyst Jeff Lagaman coming up shortly. We'll hear from him about this Giants-Jaguars matchup. The defense with their hands full against the run this week. Saquon Barkley, one of the top running backs in the NFL. The offense trying to build some momentum, and they felt like they did a little of that last week in a losing effort in Indianapolis for the Jags. Then at 5 o'clock, the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the head coach coming up and get his thoughts on this matchup at the bank this week. The Jaguars continued preparation for this Week 7 game today. Shaquille Griffin off to the side on the exercise bike during the open media portion of practice. The full injury report coming up in just a little bit. Defensive coordinator Mike Caldwell today said he still has confidence in the veteran corner.
Oh, it's still there. It's still there. You know, they make plays, we make plays, but we just have to make more plays. And we have confidence that Shaq can go back out there and do it. There's no loss of confidence in him. We're just ready for him to get another shot.
We'll see what happens on that injury report when it comes out a little bit later today. The challenge this week, though, for the Jags defense is running back Saquon Barkley, of course. Defensive tackle Devon Hamilton this week explaining the running style.
He's explosive. I mean, more than anything. I mean, he can run the ball, he can juke, he can run you over, he can go around you. So it's just so difficult, so dynamic of a player.
The Jaguars as a whole this year fared well against the run, except really for the Eagles game when the Eagles went over 200 on the ground. Now to the offense, Trevor Lawrence earlier this week on the play designs by the offensive coaching staff and how they work different players open.
They do a good job. Our staff is really creative. Does a good job scheming things up, and at the right time too. There's a lot of things that, you know, we might have, and we decide not to call it, or we decide to just put it on the back burner for a week or two, just because we don't feel like it's the right time or that we're ready to do that one yet. So, you know, I think that we're really smart with how we do things, and coach especially. So, I think they do a great job with that. And yeah, it's fun seeing all those plays as they go in, and you know, it's always cool to see the guys they put in different situations, different positions. And obviously, when they're successful, that's great.
One of those play designers is offensive coordinator Press Taylor, of course. He explains his approach when Doug Pederson goes for it on fourth downs.
It's great knowing you got extra downs sometimes to get a first down. It's 3rd and 2, and you think, all right, if we just get half here or we try something, there's a good chance we got another down. So you can be aggressive in that mindset in terms of scheming things up, designing some plays. But then you just know he's doing whatever it takes to win. He's trying to give us an opportunity to win the game at each situation. So that's fun to be a part of.
It is fun. Certainly a lot more fun when it works out, and they'll keep being aggressive. That's the nature of head coach Doug Pederson, of course. And we'll hear from the head coach now. Earlier this week on Wednesday, the Giants have finished in the fourth quarter in a number of games this year, rallying from 2 scores down a few times this season. There are similarities between the teams, but for Pederson, it's all about the Jags.
There are a lot of similarities, you know, when you look at the scoring. You know, you look at scoring by quarter. There's a lot of similarities there, both teams. I think the number one thing that we just have to focus on is us, you know, and making sure that, you know, we make plays in the fourth quarter, and we haven't done that well enough, you know, this year, or consistent enough, you know, where they are, and you know, they're making those plays. They're in the right spot at the right time, and you know. And that's kind of the way this league goes. Sometimes the ball bounces in your favor, and give them credit. They're in the right position to make those plays, and that's something that, you know, each week that we learn from ours, and you know, try to be in position each week to, you know, to come up with the ball or to make the play that wins you the game.
More with head coach Doug Pederson coming up at 5 o'clock on the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. The Giants-Jaguars game is presented by Florida Blue. Florida's Blue Cross and Blue Shield Company has been providing health insurance to residents of Florida for more than 75 years, driven by its mission of helping people and communities achieve better health. Learn more at floridablue.com. Jeff Lagaman joining us now ahead of this Giants-Jaguars matchup. Good afternoon to you, Logs.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing really good.
Okay.
Looking forward to this game this week. You know, it's
got to snap the skid here, 3 in a row.
Well, I mean, yeah, and then you've got a good football team coming in here with a good record, and you kind of got I guess you could say this is the Tom Coughlin game, you know. You kind of got a little bit of a marriage there between the two organizations through Tom Coughlin. But it's going to be interesting from the standpoint of I think the Jaguars are going to play well.
I'm
going to start out and say that right now.
Okay, you're throwing that out there, so let's dig into that. What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that is that this football team has played well across all spectrums of their team, but they just haven't been able to make it happen a lot consistently to where all three facets of the game are playing well each week. You know, last week it was the defense that didn't play well. The week before that it was the offense. In Philadelphia it was the offensive giveaways. And the defense a little bit as well. But if they just start making plays that are there, if they stop having the self-inflicted wounds, so to speak of, then I think this team is a really good football team. It's been competitive in every game that they've played. And this Giants football team, when I watch them, I see a good football team because they're winning, but I don't see an elite team by any means.
So, you know, is there a tone around here or something this week that makes you feel that, or is it just time?
No, I think it's just a, you know, first of all, I thought last week, even though a lot of people don't look at it this way, I thought last week was a really big step for the quarterback and the offense as a whole. They showed that they could get a drive when they needed it.
Big time.
And that was, I thought, was outstanding. And to be able to put together 18-play drives at crunch time, that's hard to do at any time. But to do it at crunch time, it's damn near impossible. And they were able to do it. And the 3rd and 13 throw that Trevor Lawrence had was a wow moment for me. When I saw it and I was like, wow, that was a great play. And that's just, I think, a sample of what he can do. I mean, I like the fact that he was willing to use his legs in some instances. Some cases he did not make the right decision where he rolled out into a sack. And he's got to correct one thing. You don't ever run out of bounds and take a sack. Your offensive lineman will not like you for that.
Just throw it away.
Throw it away. You know, don't take the 2-yard loss.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that was a big game for him. I think the coaching staff did a phenomenal job of instilling confidence and success in him through the game because he was coming off what was 2 really tough performances. He regressed from the Philly game to the Texans game as a passer. Now, the Philly game was worse just because the number of giveaways that he had. But as a passer, the game against Houston wasn't very good. I thought this game he was obviously highly efficient, 20 of 22. I don't think Daniel Jones has ever come close to completing that type of percentage in his career yet. So kudos to Trevor. Kudos to the offense. Shame on the defense for not finding a way to make a play.
I was going to say, yeah, and then there's the defensive performance last week. Matt Ryan stood back there and completed 42 balls, a career high for a 15-year quarterback in the NFL. A lot of short things, but there wasn't a lot of consistent heat on him throughout the day as he got it out there. And then when it mattered for them, he finally threw his longest ball of the day on his final throw of the day for the touchdown to win.
Yeah, and you can't have a rookie second-round pick catch a ball over your prize free agent acquisition from the year before cornerback. You just can't have that happening. I mean, it was not a great performance by Shaq Griffin. Now he's on the injury report with a back. And, so I don't know if he's going to play or not, but you'd like to have the ability. I can tell you that if you have a game like that as an individual, you want to come back and fight back.
Yeah, prove it was a fluke, right?
And he may not be able to with the back injury. So that's disappointing. I'm sure that he's disappointed in that. But he's got to play better. He hasn't played poorly all year, but that game was not a good performance. I thought that the first game in Washington was not a good performance, especially when you gave up that one long pass that many people thought was all on him, but it wasn't, but it was partially on him. I think 50% of the responsibility of that one big long ball to Terry McLaurin was on him. And he's just got to bounce back. I mean, Shaq's got some skills to him now. He's just got to got to hone back in and find his groove and get comfortable because he's a good football player when he's on his game.
There are 10 other guys on the field also, and there were moments that the defense just couldn't get off the field, and they had other opportunities to do so as well. It wasn't just that one play.
No,
they
there
could have
was
got off the field. They could have had a little more pass rush. They could have had a few other things happen, right?
Well, there's the responsibility on the defensive side of the ball, very shared from last week. And Devin Lloyd didn't have a very good game at all, and that was his worst performance, I think, of the year. You had a lot of miscommunication and execution of some coverage. You got beat in a lot of man coverage from situations and routes that you really shouldn't have gotten beat, to where you needed to be up on guys better. And so the pass rush wasn't where you needed against the Colts offense that had given up a league-high sacks on Matt Ryan. You didn't impact him and get him off of the spot at times. There was a couple pressures early, but then they seemed to evaporate. And as a defensive front, that was the third lineup that the Colts had gone with the offensive line in as many weeks. And so the consistency has not been there for the Colts offensive line, and you weren't able to capitalize. That was disappointing. And then you also made mistakes. You had interference calls. You had a personal foul roughing the passer call again. And the awareness from Trayvon has to be there, and that you can't put your arm up to block a pass and then follow through and down like a hammer fist style on the quarterback. It's going to get called, and you have to be able to bring that arm down. And on that play, if Trayvon just takes it right through the sternum of Matt Ryan, he may not get up. That was the disappointing thing for me on that play, was not so much the hand coming down on top of the head, which, by the way,
he got him.
He got him good.
Yeah, it was a heck of a shot.
He got his money's worth,
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
But, man, if you just drive right through him, it's a legal hit. Yep. And Matt Ryan, as old as he is, he may not get up, like I said.
This is Jaguars Happy Hour. J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lagaman. The focus this week now on the Giants' running game, though. This is one of the top rushing attacks in the NFL, and it's Saquon Barkley. He's fresh off his knee injury. He looks like at least he's back to old form. He's number one in the league in carries. Number two in carries, number one in yards, 4 touchdowns. He's pretty much everything to this Giants offense.
Well, he's number one in total yards from scrimmage, number 2 in rushing yards.
There you go.
And he has the most carries per game of any running back in the league. He is the leading receiver for the Giants offense. I mean, this offense runs through Saquon Barkley. Make no mistake about it. He's back to the form that he had, and maybe even a little bit better than he was as a rookie, going back to, as he was same class 2018, I believe, with Josh Allen. And Saquon, I think, was the 3rd overall pick in that draft, and he was kind of the toast of the town in New York. And a good football player now. He's healthy after having a couple years where he wasn't. And if they don't have him on offense, I think they're struggling as an offense. The offensive line that they have, it's okay. You got 2 first-round picks on the outside, one of them from this past year from your university, the University of Alabama, Evan Neal. I think he was like the 7th overall pick in the draft. On the left side, you've got the Georgia guy who was a first-round pick a couple years ago, Andrew Thomas, who is the number 1 rated tackle according to PFF. And watching the film on him, he's a really good football player. The 2 guards in the center are just kind of okay. And so I think this is a game that, the strength of your game, hopefully you get Fatukasi back. The strength of your defense has been your big, strong guys up front. You put your big, strong guys against their guys in the middle that aren't as good. That's not the strength of their offensive line. You dominate that. And then you shut down Barkley to not allow him to get going, and I think you've got a great chance. And once you stop Barkley now, the one thing that you've got to be aware of, Daniel Jones can run. That's the one thing I think that scares you more than anything about him. I think as a passer, he's got a capable arm, but he's not a great passer. The wide receiving core, they're still trying to kind of figure out who they got. They're playing some rookies. They've got 2 guys listed as starters that were inactive last week, which is a very curious situation. Kadarius Toney and Kenny Golladay, and both of these guys, I think, are on the trading block. And that's probably why they're listed as starters. Kadarius Toney was a first-round pick, I think, last year, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
I mean, wow.
Absolutely.
Talking about falling out of grace fast.
That happened quick, for sure. We've got plenty ahead, of course, in the next hour and 45 minutes. We'll come back with the Jaguars' offense facing this Giants' defense and the Giants' defensive line with some big-time names and another first-round pick who finally made a splash last week for Big Blue. The second hour coming up at 5 o'clock. It's the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the Jaguars' head coach. PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Can health insurance be a doorway to a healthier life? To yoga classes? To nutrition classes? To nurses you don't need an appointment to see? Or even community specialists who give you access to helpful resources? It can. Our Florida Blue Centers offer all that and a whole lot more. All you have to do is walk through the door. What else can health insurance do? Find out at floridablue.com. Florida Blue, your local Blue Cross Blue Shield. Florida Blue is a trade name of Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida, Inc.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
It's Ford Truck Month. Now's the time to get a great deal on the only trucks built Ford tough. Work or play, get after it in a new Ford F-150 or Super Duty truck. Get a Ford Maverick or get after any adventure in a Ford Ranger pickup. Take advantage of our best offers on the full Ford lineup of trucks. But you better get going. These deals won't last. Get to Ford Truck Month. Some models, trims, and features may not be available or may be subject to change. See your local dealer for details.
Hey, I'm driving. I joined the new Dunkin' Rewards program, and today's the day I'm going to use my points on a medium iced latte and a couple of chocolate frosted donuts.
Here you go, and thanks for being a rewards member.
And now I'm using those chocolate frosted donuts, kids, to get a few sweet, sweet, blissful minutes of beautiful relief from the never-ending onslaught of backseat bickering.
Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Save them, stack them, use them how you want. America runs on Dunkin'. Terms apply.
Thinking about your favorite whiskey or whiskey-based cocktail for this weekend's party or tailgate? Us too. While you're out shopping for supplies, don't forget to pick up a bottle of the 2022 Jaguars whiskey available at most local Jacksonville liquor stores. Not leaving the couch this weekend? No problem. You can also order a bottle online at citrusdistillersonline.com. Every bottle is made locally here in Duval.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Jacksonville Sports Talk for Jacksonville sports fans. 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by ViStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. And welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on a Thursday afternoon. Coming up at 5 o'clock, the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach coming up. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lagaman, Joe Fortunato, Brent Reaver on the audio and video, respectively. And the Jaguars and the Giants coming up. In week number 7, the Jags at 2-4, the Giants at 5-1. They've rallied a bunch of times in the fourth quarter. The Jaguars have not. Unfortunately, they have not played well. Late in games especially, they did finally on offense last week, as we mentioned just a minute ago, Logs. They had that 10-minute drive and change and 18 plays and took the lead and ran the ball for the 6th most yards in a single game in franchise history and did a lot of things pretty well on offense, taking what Indy gave them, of course. But now they're facing this Giants defense, and there's some names up front now. Dexter Lawrence has a sack in 3 consecutive games, big defensive tackle, about 340 pounds. Leonard Williams is on the squad. Kayvon Thibodeau finally starting to maybe find his way on the edge. He finally had a sack last week, a forced fumble on that sack fumble to end the game.
Yeah, top 5 pick. I think he was 5th overall, I believe, out of Oregon. Good player, got lots of bursts, but still kind of trying to figure it out like a lot of young pass rushers do. Trayvon Walker's in the same category, but the sack that he had, many people kind of felt that the game was already secure for the Giants, but nonetheless, a sack caused fumble there at the end of the ball game of Lamar Jackson to kind of seal the deal. And the big guys up front, for me, the guy that I really like is Dexter Lawrence. And Dexter Lawrence is more of a nose tackle than he is a 3 technique. But what's impressive about him is the size and the quickness, the movement skills that he has for kind of a nose tackle type of guy. He's got 4 sacks, and I think due in large part because Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator, who they essentially stole from the Baltimore Ravens, is a really good football coach. Really good football coach. And I give him a lot of credit because the scheme that he runs, I think, is creative. And he's also one of the players' favorites. And how the Ravens let him go, it's kind of surprising.
What are some characteristics of his scheme or schemes, or is there truly one scheme for him? He'll dial it up, won't he?
He's going to dial up a lot of blitzes. I think he blitzes at a rate that's higher than anybody in the National Football League. He's going to play a lot of different coverages. He's going to play a lot of different personnels. He's going to challenge quarterbacks to identify with these different personnel groupings that he has. And the other part of him, I think, is that sometimes he can be unpredictable. You know, Rex Ryan used to be a coordinator that would do things that really weren't conventional. And Martindale can every now and again pull something out like that as well, to where as a quarterback, there's nothing about the defense or the coverage that makes sense. And it's just something he's willing to risk maybe one area to get or gain an extra guy, or in another area to conceal something or to fool the quarterback. And that sometimes can be very difficult and challenging for a quarterback. But the good thing is that Trevor Lawrence has been very efficient in a lot of games. And if he can continue to be efficient and protect the ball, there's going to be some opportunities for some incredibly big plays in this game because of the number of man opportunities. Because, JP, as you know, you can play all the man you want if you've got the players to be able to cover man, okay, and you can bring the pressure. And name me one New York Giants corner that you think is a really good player.
Oof, couldn't tell you.
I mean, that's kind of it, right? I mean,
off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, you got a Dory Jackson who, when he was in Tennessee, was kind of a nickel guy. Fabian Moreau was kind of a journeyman a little bit, not really viewed as being a starting high quality caliber guy. I think the Jaguars match up well against the perimeter of this Giants defense very well.
So, some big plays, huh?
I hope.
The longest pass play of the year is like 40-something yards, isn't it?
Well, I hope. I mean, I'm not saying it's a lock. I'm not going to lock
You're not locking
anything.
that?
No, I don't lock
How
stuff.
many 70-yard touchdowns in this game? 3? You're going over. I'm kidding, of
What
course.
are you talking about?
I'm joking, of course. But no, I mean, it'd be nice. It's something that we haven't seen a lot of this year. There's been a lot of, hey, take the easy, check it down. That's fine. But at some point, this is a league of big explosive plays. You're not going to have 18-play drives every time.
Well, and also it'll be interesting to see what Wink Martindale, which is kind of funny, right? I mean, wasn't he a TV show host, Joe, back in the day?
Yeah,
game show, right?
Game shows, yeah.
So, I mean, I guess Wink Martindale, I mean, that's became his kind of nickname.
Correct.
His real name is Don, right?
Sure.
Is it Don?
Whatever.
It is Don.
Yeah.
Don Wink Martindale. But will he play the man in the blitz? Because what have we seen the last 2 teams do against Trevor and have success? They played zone. Lovie Smith played a ton of cover 2. Gus Bradley played a lot of 3 deep zone. So will Martindale stick with what he does best, even though the last couple weeks what's worked against Trevor has been more of a zone concept? I think that's going to be fun to watch and to see how he approaches this ball game from a game plan perspective.
Longest pass play of the season, 49 yards, week 1 at Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then they had a 45-yarder at Philly. So those are the only two.
Who had a 45-yarder at Philly again?
Gosh,
who was
I
that?
can't remember that. That's a good question.
I think that was Marvin.
Yeah, it sounds right. But, hey, at some point you got to get it down the field and make some plays in those situations.
Well, explosive plays are everything. When during the course of the game in the broadcast.
It's Christian Kirk, by the way, in the Philly.
Okay.
Yeah.
On a game broadcast, I always keep track of every drive and number of plays, the number of yards, and then I always write down the number of explosive plays on every drive. And it's amazing how the drives that are scoring drives all have either 1, 2, or multiple explosive plays. That's how you score in this league. And many people have different definitions of explosive plays. Mine has always been pretty simple. A run of 10+ and then a pass reception of 15+. That's an explosive play. Some people have 12 and then 16 as the kind of the bar. The bars for both of those categories, but however you do it, explosive plays are always the key to getting good offense and scoring points. And a lot of people will say, be conservative, run the ball, move the chains. Well, that's fine in theory, but it's not very common that you can continue to string plays together because it's hard to do that. Explosives make the wheels go on the wheels on the bus go round and round, JP.
Yeah. And
you didn't know that.
And you can flip the field. If you get a 40-yarder, boom, you're all of a sudden in deep in their territory.
He doesn't have any kids.
I get it.
He doesn't have any kids, so he never had any kids. Joe doesn't either, so you guys have no idea what I'm talking about.
I was a kid once.
Joe, Joe will stay at home and eat Cheetos and watch kids programming sometimes, so he probably knows.
Your point is an explosive play can flip the field, and instead of 3 or 4 carry, boom, you're 20 yards and you're into their territory, and here we go.
And the disappointing thing, I think, from a Jaguars explosive play standpoint this past game is that there was one play in particular that was an explosive play, but it wasn't as explosive as it should have been. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
No.
Really?
Which one? Tell us, Logs.
The Travis Etienne play for like 48, 49 yards.
It looked like he had the step at first, and then the safety kind of came over and cut off the angle at the end. What happened there?
Okay, well,
no?
What has Travis Etienne always been through high school and college?
Fast.
The fastest guy on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Has he ever had to face guys that run the same speed as him?
Probably not.
Not much,
No.
if at all, right?
Yeah, right.
So when Travis has been in the open field before like that, he didn't have to do anything different but then just run. If he does something, and when you talk to Fred Taylor this week, okay, because I know you've got some things going on with pre and post.
Always.
Okay, you need to ask Fred.
It's on Countdown to Kickoff. That starts at noon on the Jaguars Radio Network each Sunday before kick. Yes.
You need to ask Fred what he could have done differently on that run. And Fred will tell you 2 things. One, he could have threatened the cutback or the as he was running, which would have been the defender's left shoulder. He could have threatened the defender's left shoulder to make him turn his hips in some fashion to slow down. Or he could have given him the old Fred Taylor dead leg, which makes him kind of stutter for a second and then just kept on rolling and accelerated away from him. It would have been a house call. But a learning experience for a young player. Even though he's in his second year, this is essentially Travis's rookie year. But that could have, should have been, I think, a touchdown. But he had a great game, by the way.
Right.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, we're watching it on Jaguars.com.
Right there. Just stutter. Do anything to disrupt the defensive back safety from just running flat out. That's all you had to do. He beautifully blocked, by the way, which Christian Kirk got a phenomenal block. The safety inserts. He comes in late, and Christian Kirk goes in there and digs him out. He actually gets 2 blocks on the play because he blocks the safety, and then he actually blocks, the backside linebacker kind of runs into him, but it still goes down as a second block. I mean, kudos to the wide receivers. I thought they had an excellent blocking day. Another long run in the game that Travis Etienne had. It was Zay Jones that got a really nice block, digging a safety out. That one, it was Christian Kirk. And by the way, the tight ends, Manhurts is doing a great job blocking. The 61-yarder by Jermichael Hasty, Chris Manhurts absolutely manhandled the guy on that side of the line of scrimmage. And also the backup tight end, Luke Farrell, did a great job. And there was an unbalanced look. You had the two tackles over there. Cam did a great job, him and Jawan. So, I mean, I love the way they're blocking right now up front. And that's why, another reason why I feel really good about this game. Because the Giants have two pretty good players on the inside. Linebackers, Guys on the edge, against the run. I think the Jaguars will be able to have some success. And, JP, what's the best way to hit explosive plays as an offense? The most successful way of hitting explosives. It's a quiz. I'm testing your football knowledge.
Well, I mean, tell me. Why don't you just tell us the answer?
You're not going to try to guess?
No.
Play action.
Thank you. All right.
So you run the ball with success, play action. Tom Coughlin said that all for years. JP, you didn't pay attention? Doug Marrone said that for years. Doug Pederson will tell you, play action.
Play action. I like it. But you have to establish the run to make the play action bite.
You don't have to dominate the run game for play action to work. But you have to have a realistic threat of a run game for play action to work. And that's all you need. And Travis Etienne right now, I guarantee you, coordinators around the league that are preparing for the Jaguars are respecting and honoring number one skill set, which is going to allow some play action to happen.
Got to hit them. Got to hit those open guys, too. That's the next step, which we've seen a little bit earlier in the season. Hey, plenty ahead. We'll come back in just a little bit with the injury report. Whenever it comes out officially, has not come out yet from the Jaguars PR staff as of this afternoon. We'll get you the latest when we do have it, though. And then at 5 o'clock, it's the Doug Pederson Show. Jaguars head coach will join us. We'll get his thoughts on this matchup against a team he knows very well, of course. An old division rival in the NFC East, the New York Giants, coming to town to face Pederson and his new team now, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Check out the official Jaguars Podcast Network. It's free on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you download pods. Of course, this show is archived, the Huddle Up Podcast, the Ozone Podcast, and plenty more. Give us that 5-star rating as always. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Committed to the team. Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
Kessler Creative, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, has been a leader in direct mail for over a decade. Using the latest technology, Kessler can now reach your ideal audience even more effectively. Choose from between a couple of response channels, from direct mail to landing pages designed to engage and initiate responses with potential customers. Kessler Creative, Jacksonville, Florida. Results-driven marketing and a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The station that the Jaguars listen to, 1010XL. Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
PRI Productions, the Southeast full-service event company, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com and learn more. And welcome back to Jaguars Happy Hour on a Thursday. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lagaman. The Giants and the Jags coming up this Sunday at TIAA Bank Field, 1 o'clock the kickoff time. And, of course, we'll have the Publix Tailgate Show at 10 o'clock, and then countdown to kickoff on the network at noon. And we'll hear from Bob Papa this week, the Giants play-by-play announcer. He's been the voice of the Giants since, I believe, 95. Golf Channel, he's all over the place.
Yeah, and he lives here.
Yeah, so we're excited to catch up with him. The full podcast coming up.
So did he just drive in and do the interview with you?
No, he did not. No.
He's since 95, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And he lives in our area.
Yes.
Which is pretty wild.
Yeah. So, but golf involved, so he's got a lot going on both sides. So,
well, good for him. He's an excellent broadcaster.
Yeah. So we'll get his insight to the Giants coming up on the official Jaguars podcast network and on Countdown to Kickoff coming up a little bit later this weekend. So the Jacksonville Jaguars injury report, it has not come out officially today yet. I've not seen Thursday's update, but here's what we had yesterday. Jamal Agnew did not practice yesterday with a knee issue. Shaq Griffin was out with a back issue, and as we said at the start of the show, he was off to the side, at least in the open part of practice today, on an exercise bike on the side, was not in the stretch today. For the Jags, there were 4 players limited yesterday. Foley Fatukasi with a quadriceps, Devon Hamilton, a foot issue. We heard from him earlier on this show. Marvin Jones Jr. with a hamstring limited. He's feeling good, he said, in the locker room today. And then Foye Oluokun with a calf injury was limited yesterday.
Calf or quad?
Calf, it says, for Foye Oluokun.
Oh, Foye,
quad
yeah.
For Foley
Fatukasi's got the quad, yep.
So when we get the Thursday update, we'll pass that along as well. But there you have it. So first few weeks, at least, the Jaguars were, historically clean on the injury report.
And they're still pretty healthy. I mean, it really, knock on wood, they've been pretty healthy, and that's a good thing.
They have been. But if they can get Foley Fatukasi back in there on the defensive line, that was a huge part of the first couple of weeks of this defense.
He's strong as hell. I mean, he's a 2-gap defender. That's not to say that he's on par with Marcus Stroud and John Henderson, for some of the Jaguar fans that watch those in their heyday, but those guys, we used to call them 3-gap defenders because they could essentially take care of 3 gaps by themselves. And Fatukasi, I think, is close to that, and he can take care of his gap, and he's strong enough and stout enough he can throw a blocker to the side and then come over and make a play in another gap or 2 gaps over sometimes. And so he I think is and then also I think he can push the pocket on some early downs as a pass rusher, and that always helps. So getting him back, if they do in fact get him back, would be a really nice little return for the defense.
A couple other guys we'll get to here. Jamal Agnew, that's key for a number of reasons. If he's unable to go with a knee issue, and he said he did it on the end around, the handoff kind of thing is where he felt it. So, hey, that affects the kickoff return and punt return game as well.
Well, and I think the kickoff return game, you can find a way to make that okay. I mean, you're not going to have the skill set back there of what Jamal Agnew was giving you. I'm not trying to say that you're that it's going to be even, but a lot of times the kicks are going out of the end zone and you're not even getting a return out of it anyway. So that doesn't, I think, impact the game as much as not having him as a punt returner. Number one is securing the catch. And with Agnew, you trust him incredibly because he's going to catch the ball and hold on to the ball. And when you go to somebody that's the next man up in the punt return, sometimes it's not always the most dependable or somebody that's at the level that you trust. And so it will be interesting to see who they put back there and what are their instructions. Are their instructions going to be bring it back, or are their instructions going to be, hey, just make the catch?
or just let it go, whatever it is, right? I mean, because Heath Farwell, the special teams coordinator in training camp right before the season, I think I asked him, is he a green light guy? Does Agnew get the green light anytime he wants? He's pretty much, yeah. Basically,
well, they trust
if he
him.
can see it, they trust him enough to take it out.
Yeah, they trust him to make the right decision.
I would guess there's nobody else on the roster that gets that.
I don't know.
In my opinion.
Well, I mean, yeah,
maybe.
probably.
We just haven't seen
maybe
it.
Maybe not. Maybe so. I mean, we
haven't really seen it.
I don't know that. I mean, hopefully he's going to be okay, though, Jamal Agnew, and can get back sooner rather than later because he has, I think, provided a boost to the offense. And we really haven't seen the magic in the return game yet this year out of him. But all it takes is one touch with him.
It's true. Yeah, one little crease, and there he goes for 109 or whatever he wants.
And perfect example. You remember in the game, Agnew's out. He's on the sideline, helmet in hand, and we're like, okay, well, what's going to happen? Well, Chris Claybrooks goes back for the kickoff return. Fields the kickoff return, starts going up the field, and runs right into one of his own guys.
Oh, no.
It's just like,
oh, gosh.
Man, that's not what you wanted. So, and Claybrooks has been a pretty decent, returner so far. He's been okay. But that one, I don't think Jamal would have ran into his own guy.
One other injury that we need to discuss, and it's the one that led off this show, and I'm sure is leading off many this week. It's Shaquille Griffin, the back issue, and, of course, did not practice yesterday. Was off to the side today. As we mentioned, no official word on his status today. But coming off the game last week and now on the report this week, if he's unable to go, how do they shake up the secondary here?
Well, first and foremost, it's never a good look when you have a tough game and then you come and you've got an injury. You always want to have guys that come back and are ready to go, to bounce back, et cetera. But look, I've learned one thing in football, and that you never kind of assume anything when it comes to injuries. I mean, injuries are real in football. And so I'm not questioning whether he's hurt or not. This is not a situation that we had a couple years ago with somebody that were Jamal Ramsey. Okay?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Jalen
Ramsey.
Let's just go ahead and get it out there. I mean, when Jalen had this mysterious back injury, I don't believe this is it. Okay, this is nothing like that. And so what do if Shaq doesn't go? My guess would be Trey Herndon has done a good job in the past. I think that Darius Williams could be a guy that moves out to corner on base downs. But since he's been playing a ton of nickel, when I say the nickel, so when they go three corners, he's in the slot, and he's extremely athletic, which typically that's where you see the athletic guys is in the slot. My guess is that he would probably stay in the slot, and then you'll bring Trey Herndon out to play corner, or maybe Claybrooks. I mean, Trey Herndon probably, because he's been pretty good when he's had the opportunity to be out there. And then you keep rolling. You keep rolling. And I've got confidence in Trey Herndon. He's done a good job here before. he's a better zone player than he is a man player. And you go back to when Todd Walsh was coaching this defense, they actually had two different nickel packages. They had a nickel package when they wanted to play zone. Trey Herndon was the nickel. When they wanted to play man, they put in Clay Brooks. So Clay Brooks was your nickel, and it was kind of a tip, right, for the opposing offenses because you've got different personnel based on whether you want to play man or zone, but that's where they felt the most confident that they could have success as a defense back then. So I think they'll be fine in the back end. And I hope Shaq bounces back because I thought last year he played very well. He had a couple good games this year. He had a couple games that weren't so good.
Got to get him healthy and back out there and back on the field.
Got to get him right.
We'll see. Once we have the update officially, we'll bring that to you. But if you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150. Loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between, this truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're back to wrap it up in a moment, and then at the top of the hour, the Doug Pederson Show. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator, and with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading organizations across the country to deliver workforce solutions. As a proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI crafts personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has over 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Can health insurance be a doorway to a healthier life? To yoga classes? To nutrition classes? To nurses you don't need an appointment to see? Or even community specialists who give you access to helpful resources? It can. Our Florida Blue Centers offer all that and a whole lot more. All you have to do is walk through the door. What else can health insurance do? Find out at floridablue.com. Florida Blue, your local Blue Cross Blue Shield. Florida Blue is a trade name of Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida, Inc.
Hey, I'm driving. I joined the new Dunkin' Rewards program, and today's the day I'm going to use my points on a medium iced latte and a couple of chocolate frosted donuts.
Here you go, and thanks for being a rewards member.
And now I'm using those chocolate frosted donuts, kids, to get a few sweet, sweet, blissful minutes of beautiful relief from the never-ending onslaught of backseat bickering.
Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Save them, stack them, use them how you want. America runs on Dunkin'. Terms apply.
Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony. Jaguars Today. All Jaguars, all NFL, all the time. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. And if you're watching on Jaguars.com, Jaguars social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Lagaman is huge on all of those platforms.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you're watching at any of those places, It's a live look at the Miller Electric Center. Right outside TIAA Bank Field, the construction continues. The framing of the indoor facility is about done, it looks like. We saw some photos from inside there earlier this week on social media from the First Downtown Jacksonville people, and they do a great job, of course. And the construction is scheduled to be finished and ready to roll, and the Jaguars to move in by training camp of next summer, this coming summer, 23. Looking forward to that. What a beautiful day outside as well, by the way.
Last couple days.
See, we get stuck in this. We're in the offices here at the bank, right? And we're in a cave. There's no windows in here. Yeah, you could be in here 8 hours and not even know, what time of day it is. I think it's 2 a.m. right now. I have no idea. I haven't walked outside since apparently this morning.
Yeah, I can tell.
The sun was coming up.
You look a little pasty.
Yeah, it's what it is.
You need a little vitamin D every now and again, JP. You should get out more.
I walked out to practice today. That's the only reason I know there's the sun shining. And our look live at the Miller Electric Center.
Oh, is that what you do? You go out there and just look at it?
No, we just took a look.
No, I know, but you go out there and get some sun and just look at it?
Well, sometimes when I come down from lunch, I'll take the outside route right above it. But we're getting a little too into the weeds, as they say now.
All right.
Anyway, it's going to be cool. Looking forward to that. The Giants-Jaguars game presented by Florida Blue. Florida's Blue Cross and Blue Shield Company has been providing health insurance to residents of Florida for more than 75 years, driven by its mission of helping people and communities achieve better health. Learn more at floridablue.com. Giants are 5-1. The Jaguars are 2-4, and the Jags have dropped 3 in a row after a 2-1 start. Both of these teams have been in games in the fourth quarter a lot of the year. The Giants have won those games. The Jaguars, for the most part, have not been able to finish those games out. Get a win this week. Hey, 3-4, headed to London, home away from home next week to face a limping Broncos offense at Wembley.
Offense?
Yeah, the limping team as a whole.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that game next week. But you'll feel a whole lot better if you can just snap it now, then get on the plane and head over.
The biggest question mark in the league right now is the Denver Broncos being run by Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah,
and Russell Wilson at the helm.
He's got a hamstring, a shoulder. He's got everything going on. Right
yeah, and just got a big deal that I think ties him to that organization for the next, counting this year or the next 3 years. And they don't have a choice but to have him as their quarterback, and he's not playing very well. Started the game out the other night, I think 10 of 10 or something like that, was pretty good, but then just kind of failed for the rest of the game. Not a good situation to be in, and with new ownership in Denver, it will be interesting to see how much patience that they have.
Yeah, Denver is 30th in the league on third down on offense this year and 22nd in total offense.
That's not so good now. Last time I checked, that's not so good.
We'll get to that, of course, next week before the Jaguars hop on the plane and head to London. The Giants, on the other hand, are right there at the top of the league, near the top in rushing offense. They've got Saquon Barkley. They've got confidence. They've got a head coach who gets the most out of what he has to offer. They've got a defense that attacks, and they're winning football games.
Well, and they've beat some good teams now. They beat Green Bay in London, right? That was their London game?
Correct, yes.
They beat
Aaron Rodgers had the ball in his hand with a chance to go down the field, and they ended it.
Beat Tennessee, you beat the Baltimore Ravens. Those are 3 good football teams. Dallas is a pretty good football team. So, I mean, they've got some nice wins. And the impressive thing, I think, about the Giants is that Brian Daboll, who's their head coach, has gotten, I think, a lot of credit for what they're doing, and as he should. If you look at where he's been, he's won where he's been. He won Super Bowls with the Patriots. He goes with Nick Saban for a year. They win a national title. And then many people point to Josh Allen, who's the quarterback, Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. They point to Brian Daboll as one of the keys in his development. And he is getting the best out of the best from a quarterback in New York who has struggled, who they did not pick up his fifth-year option because they felt that Daniel Jones was not going to be a franchise guy, or they felt it wasn't worth the risk of paying him or picking up that option year. But right now, and I'm not saying that Daniel Jones is a great quarterback, and I'm not saying he's a franchise guy, but I can tell you this, Brian Daboll has him playing better than he has in the past. And that's all you can do as a coach is to get the most out of your players. And right now he's getting the most out of Daniel Jones, more so than anybody has ever gotten out of him.
He uses his legs a good bit in this attack, of course.
Yeah, here's an
has
example
the
of
ability
that.
to run.
Here's an example of that, and I was shocked when I was looking at these numbers because Saquon Barkley is getting the most carries per game of any running back in the National Football League, but Daniel Jones, to himself, he has 47 carries on the season. 47 carries. Right. Okay, let's compare that to Trevor, who has 20.
Yeah.
Okay, 47.
And 6 of those came last week.
20, exactly.
Yeah.
So the previous season high for Daniel Jones in carries was going back to 2020, which was 65. Okay, he's got 47 now. That puts him on pace right now of having 133, which would more than double his previous season high of rushes. That's staggering.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of it is who's he going to throw the ball to? They don't have big-name receivers out there. His high water mark in passing yards this year is 217 yards. That was in London against Green Bay, and he was 21 of 27 in that game, and they don't throw it to those guys.
No, and the interesting part is if you look at who's at the top of his receptions, you got a running back and a tight end.
Isn't that something, right?
Okay,
yeah.
You got Barkley, who's leading receiver with 21 catches, and then Bellinger. Is it Bellinger or Bellinger? He's a rookie tight end, and he's a good player now. Fourth-round pick out of San Diego State. He's a good player, good blocker, good all-around player. He is right up there with 15 catches, so he's third. So if you're looking at it from top down, Barkley leads with 21. James is second, and that's Richie James. He's a wide receiver from Middle Tennessee State. He's second with 19 catches, and then Bellinger, the tight end, is next with 15 catches. I mean, that's kind of weird, right? A running back and a tight end, two of your top 3 receptions leaders for your quarterback, and compare that to the Jaguars where you have Zay Jones at the top, Christian Kirk in second, Evan Ingram, and then Marvin Jones. So 3 out of your top 4 are wide receivers.
Wow.
Very different
That's
offenses,
a totally
right?
different feel. Yeah.
And so it's this offense that the New York Giants run, it's obviously revolves around Saquon Barkley as a runner, but also as a receiver. They're trying to throw a lot of high percentage underneath kind of short stuff because they feel like that's important to the growth of Daniel Jones and the success of their offense.
Is that sustainable for the long haul for them, though?
Well, we'll see. I think it's a great question. It's worked before, but if you look at the history of Daniel Jones and new coaches, typically after a while, I don't want to say they figure things out, but people start to adjust. And hopefully this Jaguars defense can adjust because this past game they struggled.
You know who likes to see the Giants on the schedule? Doug Pederson. He's 8-2 against them as a head coach with the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you want to hear from Doug tonight on his program?
It's kind of interesting because when you face the Giants, first of all, it's one of the storied franchises in the NFL. I wanted to know if he watched them as a kid because I grew up watching the Giants. Did you?
They were on, sure.
Okay, and then who were they? Who was it?
They were good. I mean,
that
it was
Eli
Sims.
and Coughlin for you, right?
No. It was.
So
those were my later days. I mean, it was Sims, and they hit the Bills missed the field goal, and all that.
I remember, growing up, because the Redskins were my dad and his friends' team. They watched every Sunday, but I just remember Lawrence Taylor terrorizing left tackle Joe Jacoby, and Lawrence Taylor was the most dominant player maybe ever in NFL history as far as defense goes. And Parcells and Carl Banks, they had some really good players on that defense. Jim Burt, Leonard Marshall, some of those guys I played with once I got in the National
You've been
Football
around a
League.
while.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's what it is.
My first preseason game ever, walked out of the tunnel. Lawrence Taylor was standing right there, and I went and looked at him. I went, oh, my God, that's Lawrence Taylor.
You both wore 50.
That's Lawrence Taylor.
You both wore 56 in New York.
Yeah, he wore it a lot better than I did.
Coming up, the Doug Pederson Show. That'll do it for Jaguars Happy Hour. Of course, tonight on television, Jaguars All Access live from Strings Brewery in Springfield on Fox 30. Josh Allen, I believe Travis Etienne is the guest tonight. Jaguars running back. The Doug Pederson Show is coming up next. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on Jaguars Radio.
Welcome to the Doug Pederson Show, brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. J.P. Shadrick and former Jaguar Jeff Lagaman discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Doug Pederson Show starts right now.
And welcome in. It's Week 7. The Jaguars entertain the New York Football Giants this Sunday at TIAA Bank Field. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman and Jaguars head coach Doug Pederson, and trying to get back on track. 3-game skid here, but coming back home to face the Giants and a good chance to try to get some things right and finish out a game.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing right there is finish the game. You know, we've had glimpses of that, you know, with a couple wins that we've had this season, but we got to do a better job in the second half. You know, coaches and players, it's everybody included, you know, and putting our players in position, but at the same time, our players have to understand that we've got to go, especially with the lead, late in the fourth quarter. We got to be able to finish these ball games and come out ahead.
Yeah, I think the term complementary football is probably fitting, right?
It is. And complementary is really all three phases, you know, and offense, defense, special teams. But, you know, go back to the Houston game where the defense played well. Offense, you know, struggled, you know, but the defense kept us in the game. So there's somewhere somebody needed to make a play where we could overcome and win that game. And then last week, you know, it was kind of the same thing. Offense was kind of moving along and you know, you want the defense to make a play late in the game and playing complementary football that way. And those are all things that I continue to show the team and teach. And, you know, again, we've still got some young players that have to understand that. It's just that sense of urgency, you know, when they're in those moments.
This week you've got the New York Football Giants, one of the oldest teams in the National Football League. And as a kid, I'll never forget watching, at the time, the Redskins and Joe Jacoby trying to block Lawrence Taylor. You know, so I mean, Lawrence was one of the great Giants of all time, one of my favorite players. Do you have a guy that like you grew up watching or remember from the New York Giants back in those days?
Well, I played actually in the league. I was with the Miami Dolphins when Lawrence Taylor was still playing, and of course, you know, everybody knows about him. But you know, Phil Simms was there, and he was the quarterback, and just, you know, watching him and really some great, really good Giants football, you know, teams back in the day, and just watching them, you know, and Coach Parcells and those guys, and you know, just the history of the New York Giants, and a storied franchise, one of the oldest in the NFL. I mean, there's a lot of history with this organization, and you know, our legendary Coach Coughlin, you know, was up there for a little while and had a chance to kind of coach against him. So those were a couple of guys, and just watching them, you know, as a kid growing up, just you know, a good football team.
Unfortunately, I was across the river watching them win, with the other team in New York. You know, when Lawrence Taylor, Carl Banks, Harry Reasons. I mean, it was that was a dominant defense, really good.
Well, Logs, don't let him fool you. He's 8-2 against the Giants as the Eagles head coach. So I'm just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. I saw that wry little smile over there when we brought up the Giants. Well, this is a Giants team, though, that's 5-1. They've surprised a lot of folks around the NFL or outside of the building over there, I think, and maybe even inside the building in New York. They're winning some of those fourth quarter games and rallying back. What is it about Brian Daboll's coaching style that gets that team together?
Well, you know, that's the biggest difference right now that you're seeing, you know, with them that you're not seeing with us, is that they're opportunistic. They're creating plays at the right time. Defense has stepped up and created some key turnovers late in some of these games. They've overcome, I think, 10-plus points in several of their wins this year. You know, and really, honestly, Coach Daboll's done a nice job of just, you know, basically offensively sort of utilizing their strengths, right, and taking their strengths and using that in a way that you know, Daniel Jones is playing solid football. You know, he may not be the guy that has to go out and win the game, but he's playing consistent football, you know, throwing it. He obviously is a good athlete. He can run the ball as well. But, you know, we know everything's going to run through Saquon Barkley on offense, and that's the biggest issue that faces us. Obviously, is being able to stop him and stop that run game, because that's a powerful running back in the NFL.
Yeah, he's the reemergence of his career has just been amazing. I mean, I think he's like the number one back in the league in all-purpose yards. He's a great back in the offensive line, and they're committed to it. And that's really the engine that makes them go on offense.
It does, and you're right. It's it goes through him again. Daniel Jones too. He's not turning the ball over. In the past, I think he's put the ball in harm's way. He's learned. Listen, he's now been in this league a few years, so he's understand and learning from his mistakes in the past, and he's playing solid football right now. And really defensively, you look at them on defense, and Coach Martindale, coming from Baltimore and utilizing some of that pressure package that he has, and he likes to use a lot of linebackers and DBs and try to confuse you at the line of scrimmage, and that's how they're getting pressure on these quarterbacks and creating some sacks and some turnovers that way.
Yeah, when you bring up Wink Martindale, I think that's one of the kind of trademarks of him, is that his defense has typically been not unafraid, I guess, to do different things. I mean, last week against the Ravens, he's playing a different style of defense with different personnel.
He is. And the defense takes on his personality, and he's an aggressive style coach, and he's excitable, he's energetic, and that's the way the defense feeds off of that, and he's to be complimented for that, and that's what you see on tape. And these guys are playing with a lot of confidence right now, and again, they're creating turnovers at the right time, they're getting key stops at the right time, and then offensively, they're scoring late in the game to take over and win these games.
Yeah, Kayvon Thibodeau got the big strip sack fumble at the end of the ball game last week, but the two guys in the middle, and Leonard Williams, who's a really big dude, and then Dexter Lawrence. I mean, those two guys in the middle are pretty good.
They're solid. They're big. They're athletic. They're physical. They push the pocket in the pass game. They're just run stoppers up the middle. It's just you've got to try to get four hands on these guys and try to move them the best you can. It's Luke and our guards are going to have their hands full. Literally have their hands full on Sunday. Blocking these two guys. But it's a solid defense. They are giving up some yards, running the ball and whatnot. But you know what? They get in the red zone. They stop it. They either hold you to a field goal or to nothing. And it's going to take a 4-quarter game for us to have a chance to win this one.
Watching your offense and the way you're running the football right now, and to go back to last week's game just for a minute, because I thought there was a couple performances that were outstanding, and for me, it says a lot about your football team. The grit and the willing to get dirty of your wide receivers in the running game, specifically Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, I thought they did an amazing job last week. And then your right tackle, I think, had his best game ever as a pro in Jawan Taylor last week, and that's got to be encouraging.
It is. It just shows you you're on the right track, and the message is sticking offensively, because it takes all 11 guys, and we know in the run game the receivers have to block. And in our style of runs, we're asking them to block DNs, we're asking them to block linebackers, and different schemes that we do. And you're absolutely right. Christian and Zay, outstanding job in the run game last week. And again, Jawan is really starting to emerge as a really good tackle in this league, and rightfully so. He's talented, and we all know that he is playing for the contract this year, and just a consistent, kind of a consistent player for us each and every week. So that's what it's going to take. It's going to take us running the football a little bit, take pressure off our quarterback, the play action pass. We do have to get Christian and Evan going a little bit in the passing game, and we know that. And hopefully this will be the week to do that.
Let's go to the Microsoft Surface for a social media question for the head coach. This is from @Samuel of Duval, and we go back to your playing days, Doug. What did quarterback Doug Pederson's scouting report say back in the day?
Probably said he couldn't throw and he was too slow. No, I would say that he's a smart guy. He's a solid backup. He definitely a guy that's probably not going to beat you with his arm more than his legs. But gosh, that's a great question. It kind of stumps you just a little bit thinking about
holder.
He's a solid special teams holder on extra points and field goals. But Great question right there. Something I need to go research. And
have you ever seen the scouting report?
I've never seen
because
the scouting report.
You've been in the league for a while as a coach, and sometimes the old scouting reports surface somewhere, somehow. So you've never seen one?
I've never seen one.
We got to
ask
dig one
up. Scouting department to find it for me.
Well, it wouldn't be here because it was before this franchise existed. It had to be somewhere else.
Yeah, but we got ways.
I bet you we can find
sources.
We can find it.
I like that. All right, final thought here. Giants coming in. They're 5-1. They're hot right now. Jaguars trying to get back on track at home. London game's next week. That's down the road a little bit, but need that fan support this week to help this defense against a really good Giants football team.
Yeah, and the Giants fans travel, but we need all the faithful out there this weekend. In our stadium here at the bank, and really, take over the stadium. Take over the stadium. We need our fans to support these players. They will. It'll be an exciting football game Sunday afternoon. Looking forward to it. Great football team coming in here, but our guys are ready for the challenge.
Thanks for the time, Doug. Good luck to you.
I appreciate it.
It's head coach Doug Pederson. We're back with more. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Jags fans, sign up for ESPN Plus to see Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars take on Russell Wilson and the Broncos across the pond at London's Wembley Stadium Sunday, October 30th. ESPN Plus gives you access to nonstop NFL action all season long with live games, originals, highlights, and more. After you sign up, be sure to log into your device with your ESPN account to stream on your TV and other devices. Visit ESPNplus.com/NFL for more details.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
And welcome back. It is the Doug Pederson Show, and our thanks to the Jaguars head coach joining us every week, J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lagaman. The Giants-Jaguars game is presented by Florida Blue. Florida's Blue Cross and Blue Shield Company has been providing health insurance to residents of Florida for more than 75 years, driven by its mission of helping people and communities achieve better health. Learn more at floridablue.com. Well, there's a Jaguars head coach that's trying to get his team to finish football games logs. They haven't been able to do that. 3 straight losses, and they're facing a team that, well, they have been able to do that in New York. The Giants are 5-1, and quite a matchup this week.
Yeah, and I think the impressive thing is that 3 of those wins, they've kind of fought back and battled back. And if you look at it from a points standpoint, they're scoring a lot of points in the fourth quarter. So if you got this team kind of, you feel like you got them on ropes, and you got to lead in the fourth quarter, you better do everything you can to make sure that you kind of keep your pedal down, because this is a team that will climb back into the game.
It's not like they were playing bad teams either. I mean, they're playing the Packers and the Ravens, and, their schedule.
Yeah, the Tennessee game, I made a note here. The Tennessee game, Green Bay and Baltimore, you were trailing by 10 or more in the fourth quarter, and you came back and won those 3 games. And those are 3 good football teams. Tennessee was, we know all about Tennessee, good team. Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers, and then Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. But Lamar Jackson is making some decisions this year that you just you shake your head at, going, what are you doing? And this is a contract year for him.
It is. He can still play, though, man. I mean, I think he
there's
can
no
work
doubt.
some of that out. I would bet that he's going to figure it out.
There's no doubt, but every mistake that you make, like he made last week, where he's running one way and then throws the ball across the field, what do you always talk about with quarterbacks?
Don't throw it across the
Don't
field.
throw it across your body
Right.
away from where you're running.
Yeah.
Okay, and he did that. That's like a rookie mistake. And it got intercepted, and that allowed the Giants to get the go-ahead score. I mean, you don't do that, So anyway, it's plays like that. Cha-ching, ka-ching. That's money being taken out of your account.
Oh, they're taking the money from him.
That's exactly
Okay.
right.
From Doug's perspective, I would think that it's got to be a little frustrating to have finally maybe figured out something on the offensive side. They finally get that fourth quarter drive, the 18-play drive to take the lead with just under 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, and then defense gives it up.
Right. Like,
Yeah,
how
well-
do you? If it's not one thing, it's the other.
Well, you're not going to get mad about it because against the Texans, you had an opportunity to go do it a couple times, and you weren't able to do it, as an offense. So, trust me, there's no finger pointing, I don't think, in this locker room that's going on from last week's game, because the week before you could turn around and point that finger right at yourself. So that part of it I don't worry about. I think that the defense, though, has got to get some things fixed, and I can tell you they better be ready for tempo again. Tempo that the Colts used, and first and foremost, you got a veteran quarterback in Matt Ryan who can operate an offense at the line of scrimmage. He's got the experience, no problem. Could a Daniel Jones do something like that to that extent? I don't know if he could do that, but I guarantee they're going to try it.
Do something, yeah. Why not? They've seen it on tape.
They're going to try it, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
give it
just
a
because
shot.
the Jaguars struggled with it a little bit, and people have asked me, what is tempo, why is that hard on a defense? One, it gets you kind of gassed because you're not getting the full break between plays. Sometimes they snap it faster, sometimes they don't. But it's just the hurried pace that you're getting lined up, and you're running to your, not so much running, but you're hustling to your spots because they could snap the ball quickly.
No substitutions.
You're not subbing, so
Yeah.
guys have to go a little bit longer. But you know what? They're not subbing on the offensive side of the ball either. And what it does, one, it simplifies the defense from a personnel standpoint and from a call standpoint. Very few defenses in the National Football League will have their full array of coverages with an up-tempo or versus an up-tempo offense. Because even if you think about, like, for an example, 2-minute drill, you're prepared for a certain personnel grouping in a 2-minute drill, and so you have hand signals, communication, et cetera. Well, if the Colts or another team go up-tempo and they're not in the personnel grouping that you're expecting like a 2-minute to be in, then you don't really have sometimes you don't have all of those calls prepared to be able to, call them all quickly. And you can't get to some packages because you can't change personnel. So that's a challenge for a defense. But the one thing that can be good is that if you make a play quickly with up-tempo, you're putting their defense back out on the field in a hurry. And that can be tough on their defense. So that's the risk that you run in trying to have an up-tempo offense, putting your defense back out there quickly. But the Jaguars were not able to make plays to get off the field, and the Colts were able to put more drives together to keep their defense still rested.
You know what they say about pointing fingers? We were talking about the Jaguars aren't doing that yet. On either side of the ball, you point a finger, then there's 3 fingers pointed back to you at the same time in the hand formation. Think about that.
Well, if you point with your thumb, it could be 4.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it depends on which finger you use. You're still going to get at least 3.
Correct.
We'll come back in a moment. And this running game for the Giants, oh boy, Saquon Barkley is back, and the Jaguars have to wrangle him this week. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
If the last couple years have taught us anything, it's to show the ones we love how much we care. That's why Pet Paradise calls you by name from the moment you arrive. Why our pack leaders know each and every friend you like to play with out on the turf. And that you like some snuggles before you fall asleep. The more we see and get to know you, the more you'll see how much you mean to us. Pet Paradise. It's a new day in pet care.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Can health insurance be a doorway to a healthier life? To yoga classes? To nutrition classes? To nurses you don't need an appointment to see? Or even community specialists who give you access to helpful resources? It can. Our Florida Blue Centers offer all that and a whole lot more. All you have to do is walk through the door. What else can health insurance do? Find out at floridablue.com. Florida Blue, your local Blue Cross Blue Shield. Florida Blue is a trade name of Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida, Inc.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lagaman, glad you're with us. The Giants and the Jaguars coming up in Week 7 at TIAA Bank Field. The Jags at 2-4, Giants at 5-1. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson joining us in the first segment of the program each and every week. Well, the Giants are led by running back Saquon Barkley on the offensive side. He's back from his knee injury 100%, probably better than that if there is such a thing. Number 1 in the league in rushing attempts, 119 of those, 616 rushing yards. It's second best in the league behind only Nick Chubb. He has 4 touchdowns. He is the number 1 priority for this Giants offense. Everything goes through Barkley, the former Penn State running back.
Yeah, good player. Got his explosiveness back. You know, you look at him from the standpoint of his rookie season was really the best year that he's had. And 16 games he played that year and a little over 1,000 yards, 1,307 to be exact. And then the next year he missed a couple games, but it was solid. And then the 2 lost years in 2020, he only played 2 games. And then 2021, he played 13 games, but did not have a very good year. And now he's back to being that explosive back to where he can carry an offense, and he is carrying this offense. He's really good. And you're going to have to populate him because if you don't end up bringing some hats to him, he's going to make you look silly and he's going to embarrass you. And the offensive line, I think you got one really superstar player, which is their left tackle, Andrew Thomas, the right tackle, Evan Neal's. You know, they hope he's going to be a superstar. He's a first-round pick from the spring from Alabama. Big man. Feet still need a lot of work. The other guys in the middle for the offensive line are just kind of okay. And I think the Jaguars can win at against those positions, the 2 guards and the center. The tackle is going to be interesting. Evan Neal, I would like to think that you can make some hay on him because he has struggled this year.
Who's lining up on him?
Well, they flip-flop. You know, Josh and Trayvon flip-flop. So there's never one side for one guy situation. It's always based upon how they play it or how they want to match up. I can tell you whoever's going on the other side against the former number 1 pick out of Georgia, Andrew Thomas, they're going to pack their lunch. It's going to be a long day. I mean, he's a good football player, and you're not going to get a whole lot, so you better make sure that what you have as far as the opportunities, you better take advantage of every little opening he gives you because he's not going to give you many. He's good. And he was viewed as a bust now. I couldn't believe that they viewed him as a bust so quickly. But New York,
who's they? New York people?
Well, it's just look, New York can be really, really challenging.
You would know firsthand.
Yeah, I was there, and they can really make things tough on you. But then also when you win, it's pretty special when you win in New York, and so with the Giants having their best start to a season, since like 2009 or something like that, the people in New York are fired up, and there might be a few Giants fans here on Sunday, JP.
Sure. Quick flight.
Yeah.
Probably
got direct flights.
A lot of people transplanted down here.
Opportunity to go to a warmer climate and see your football team play. 5-1, right? They're going to the Super Bowl.
Right. That's what they're saying. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but they're playing well, and that it starts with that running back. There aren't really many threatening players on the outside for them at receiver.
No,
they're not going to throw it up a lot.
They have some good players. I mean, solid players, but there's really no one guy that you sit there and go, oh yeah, that guy's really good. And they've been mixing in a lot of young guys, and I'm talking throughout their team. Joe Schoen's their general manager. He was the one that was hired to replace Dave Gettleman, and then he brings in Brian Daboll, the head coach, along with ownership there, and ownership is very involved with that football team. They're an experienced ownership as far as owning the team for a long period of time, the Maras and Tisches, and they've done a good job with that organization over the years. But make no mistake about it, they are playing young guys. They're not afraid to play the young guys. They're playing them on offense. They're playing them on defense. They're playing a rookie tight end, playing a rookie wide receiver. They're playing a rookie safety. Rookie defensive end and Kayvon Thibodeau, rookie tackle. They're doing it.
Put them out there. See.
I give them credit now. And here's the funny thing. Have you watched the Brian Daboll interview yet with the New York media?
No, I have not.
Man, you want to talk about dry? I mean, he's not giving them an opening for nothing. Seriously, I mean, it's like he's almost so buttoned up. I don't want to say the press conferences are bad to watch, but it's like, can you lighten up just a little bit there, Brian? Have a little fun. Because every media guy, you'll laugh at this, JP. They do a lot of that stuff via Zoom, I guess, instead of being in person for whatever reason.
Okay.
So you'll have all the questions are coming over via Zoom, so everything's kind of delayed a little bit. So you got to have those uncomfortable pauses.
Right. We know all about those.
So if you're Brian and I'm a reporter, okay? I'm Rich Samini of ESPN New York. Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good.
Okay, Brian. No, you don't say good. You don't say nothing.
Nothing.
You don't say nothing. No, but do it again, okay?
Okay.
Hey, Brian, how you doing? Okay, good. Hey, Coach, this week against the Jaguars. It's like that with every question. And you would think that the media would catch on and that the coach is not going to respond to you saying, hey, how you doing today?
Not that kind of warm and fuzzy.
The question.
Huh? Yeah, let's get to it.
Instead of trying to have these subtle formality introductions.
Small talk or whatever. All that stuff.
Coach is there to answer questions. He doesn't want to sit there and say, hey, how you doing, Bob? Great to see you, man.
Rich, you're wasting my time.
I wish you would just say that.
What do you want?
I wish you would just say that.
Hey, we've got plenty ahead. The Giants-Jaguars matchup. We'll get to the Jaguars' offense. Last week, they ran for 243 yards in a losing effort. The sixth best rushing day in franchise history.
How can you have that many rushing yards, 20 of 22 out of your quarterback, not turn the ball over, and not win?
I don't know. Well, we found out because the defense gave it up at the end. That's why. We're back with plenty more ahead. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
It's Ford Truck Month. Now's the time to get a great deal on the only trucks built Ford tough. Work or play, get after it in a new Ford F-150 or Super Duty truck. Get a Ford Maverick or get after any adventure in a Ford Ranger pickup. Take advantage of our best offers on the full Ford lineup of trucks. But you better get going. These deals won't last. Get to Ford Truck Month. Some models, trims, and features may not be available or may be subject to change. See your local dealer for details.
At Five Star Credit Union, you inspire them to go the extra mile to meet your financial needs. That's why they offer Jaguars fans more banking options like better rates and no hidden fees. Their team is also dedicated to making the communities they serve stronger, volunteering their time and talents while donating millions to local nonprofits. Five Star Credit Union, FiveStarCU.org. Go Jags!
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
And we're back with breaking news. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any Coke fan, so make sure you... Jim. Jim. We're on the air.
Ooh, yes, this tastes like the best Coke ever to me. Your thoughts, Jen?
Well, can I have a sip?
Jen, we're in the middle of reporting the news.
I need to try it first.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
We're back. It's the Doug Pederson Show, presented by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lagaman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson joining us at the top of the show every week. The New York Football Giants and the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up. Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff time at TIAA Bank Field. The game this week presented by Florida Blue. The Giants are 5-1. The Jaguars are 2-4. And the Jags have dropped 3 straight. The offense last week got some things going. They ran the football well early and decided to keep running the football all game long and had the 6th best rushing attack in a single game in franchise history. And Travis Etienne had a nice day. Hasty had a long run. I mean, they go down the list. Everybody. Trevor Lawrence ran the ball well in his moments. They had a huge fourth quarter drive to get it going and take the lead, a 10-minute plus drive, and did a lot of things well on offense last week. Now, can they carry that against the Giants? What will it look like this week?
Well, I think that's interesting. You always want to be able to run the ball, but we have kind of learned that this is a little bit more of a pass-first offense. I think last week's game plan reflected the struggles at the quarterback position the previous 2 weeks, and that they wanted to protect him, allow the offense to have some success on the ground, to let Trevor get comfortable in that game, give him some plays that were low risk, high percentage of completion, just to kind of get him going. And Travis Etienne was marvelous to start that game. The running game period, Jermichael Hasty was good. I thought James Robinson did a good job. And the offensive line, I think, really is putting together and has put together some really good games. I thought the Texans game was okay by them. The protection was good in pass protection. I thought the Eagles game, they were good in pass protection. This past week, they took it to another level running the football. And if I had to pick like a blocking MVP, it would be Jawan Taylor.
Right tackle.
I thought he had, hands down, his best game as a pro. He was outstanding. He was finishing blocks. He was strong. He was moving people. But most importantly, it was the finish which differentiated this performance against other ones that he's had. In the past, you've heard me kind of say, come on, Jawan, you got to do better in the run game. Finish, finish, finish. And sometimes he would be looking when I say looking, he makes a block for a little bit and then kind of comes off the block and is looking at his guy. Well, the play's right behind him. You keep blocking. And he would watch his guy get involved in a tackle. And he set a standard now. Okay, that game right there established that he can do that. And so now he has to hold himself accountable to that standard every week. And I'm not saying that it's going to be as high of a level. But I'm saying just the finish and the effort and everything else now has to be at that level or more. And that's a good thing. And I give credit to Phil Rauscher. I think Phil's doing a great job with this offensive line. He's getting the best out of Jawan Taylor that I've seen. Again, best game he's ever played. He's been very consistent in pass protection, and that's always been a tough spot with Jawan. And then Cam, the angles, the sets, they're getting better. I mean, he's doing a really good job with that offensive line.
It's interesting to watch them play up front, especially last week when all of a sudden they're bringing trap blocking in, and it's
they were whams.
Wham, is that what you're calling them? Okay, whams.
Yeah, a trap block is when an offensive lineman is trapping a guy on the line of scrimmage. So let's say, for example, Brandon Sheriff at right guard, he goes and he traps the tackle on the other side in front of Shatley.
Got it. Yep.
Or a nose tackle shaded on the other side of Fortner. Okay, a wham is like a trap, but it's coming from a second level behind the offensive line. A fullback or a tight end. The tight end can be lined up in the backfield. He can be lined up in the wing. The two long runs that Travis Etienne had were whams. And the whammer on both of those plays was Chris Manhertz. Did a really good job on the first one, which was the 48-yard run by Travis Etienne, which, by the way, we're going to break down with Bernie Parmalee, the running backs coach, on Jaguars All Access tonight and Jags Wired this week.
What time is that? 7?
7 o'clock.
Fox 30.
Fox 30.
From Strings.
From Strings. Thank you.
In Springfield.
Yep. And we will have Travis Etienne as our guest.
All right.
But the wham plays were really good, and Chris Manhertz is doing a great job of blocking. He doesn't get a lot of balls, obviously, because he's a blocking tight end. But the job that he did on that 48-yard run, the wham, was good. But there was another, like a 20-plus yard run that Travis had, and it was another wham play. But Sheriff had to kind of change what he was doing. He thought that the tackle would penetrate inside, so he doesn't pull away to set up the guy that's supposed to get whammed. So Sheriff stays on that guy. Manhertz, totally unexpected. He's not expecting Sheriff to do that. They've never gone over this, I guess, from what I understand. He goes right up, Manhertz does, right up to the next level to block the linebacker, which kind of was Sheriff's guy at the beginning of that. I mean, that's a great job of adjustment by a veteran player. And then the 61-yarder by Jermichael Hasty, J.P., he does a great job of completely getting the seal here, okay, the inside seal.
Yeah.
And then the young tight end, Farrell, gets the seal over there. So a seal here, a seal there, and then here's the alleyway. That's where Jermichael ran, right between those two blocks by the tight ends.
By the way, Chris Manhertz from the Bronx in New York. And I asked
him,
a
couple New York guys.
Yeah, and I asked him this week, hey, any juice still? You've been in the league a long time. He's like, nah, it's another team, and they just happen to be wearing blue this week. Doesn't do it for him. Evan Ingram, on the other hand, might have a little something. We're back in a moment, though. Quarterback play for the Jaguars when we come back. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Yingling Traditional Lager. The beer for drinkers who know how to tap into their inner eagle and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So fly over the radar. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
We're back. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lagaman. The Doug Pederson Show on the network continues ahead of the Giants-Jaguars matchup in Week 7 here at the Bank coming up Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff time. Last week, efficient quarterback play, not pushing it down the field again. It's not what the Colts gave him. And 20 of 22 passing. Trevor had those key moments on that final drive, of course, with his legs a few times on 3rd and 4th down, and then some key throws in big moments, and a good step for the quarterback last week.
Yeah, after 2 steps that were maybe a little bit backwards in the previous weeks, and in a perfect world, you'd like to see the ball getting pushed downfield and having defenses stretched, but I think there's a time and a place for that. And could it be this week? Maybe. But I thought last week with the style of defense that you were facing, the previous week's performances by Trevor, I think that was exactly what the doctor ordered, and it worked. It worked. The defense just didn't handle their side of the bargain.
Can they dial it up this week down the field?
Well, I mean, maybe. I don't know what the game plan is, but I mean, they play a more aggressive style of defense.
Okay. So you might take advantage of some of their aggressive.
When you have an aggressive style of defense, that leads to more opportunities down the field, and you've got to trust your guys. I think Marvin Jones you trust just because he does a really good job with the 50-50 ball situation.
See if he's back. He's on the report last week. Missed last week's game, but yeah.
And then Zay Jones can run by some people. So Christian Kirk can run by some people. So what's the matchup? I think that there will be opportunities to find some space down the field for Trevor in this offense, and you hope that the protection stays good, because I think that's key. Obviously, play action would help that, but your offensive line has been doing a really good job in pass protection. They have been much improved this year. And again, I'm going to say this again, offensive line coach Phil Rauscher is doing a really good job. That group is that might be the most improved group on the football team from last year to this year. And essentially they're working with 4 out of 5 components that are kind of the same, right? I mean, even with Shatley in there.
Shatley, center's new, and then, the
Sheriff is
so
back.
3 out of 5.
So 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think they're doing a great job.
Was that 60%?
Quick math.
Quick math.
Yeah, pretty good. That's good, JP.
Thank you.
You're getting better at math.
Thank you. I didn't have to take off my shoes or anything to count for that one. We're back in a moment, and we'll get a social media question for Jeff Lagaman.
All right.
You're a social media maven.
Are we going to talk about my scouting report?
No.
Oh.
We do that every show,
Okay.
I think. That's a prerequisite for the rundown each week, is to talk about Jeff Lagaman's scouting report as a player. Kidding, of course. This is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Jags fans, sign up for ESPN Plus to see Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars take on Russell Wilson and the Broncos across the pond at London's Wembley Stadium Sunday, October 30th. ESPN Plus gives you access to nonstop NFL action all season long with live games, originals, highlights, and more. After you sign up, be sure to log into your device with your ESPN account to stream on your TV and other devices. Visit ESPNplus.com/NFL for more details.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
And we're back with breaking news. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any Coke fan, so make sure you... Jim. Jim. We're on the air.
Ooh, yes, this tastes like the best Coke ever to me. Your thoughts, Jen?
Well, can I have a sip?
Jen, we're in the middle of reporting the news.
I need to try it first.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back to the Doug Pederson Show, and it's time for the injury report presented by Baptist Health and the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The official Thursday report is out, and logs, it looks exactly the same as yesterday. 2 players did not practice today. Jamal Agnew, kick and punt returner and wide receiver, did not practice, second straight day. And then cornerback Shaquille Griffin did not practice today as well, 2 days in a row with a back issue. The other 4 players on the list limited today. Foley Fatukasi with a quadriceps issue, Devon Hamilton with a foot issue, Marvin Jones Jr. with a hamstring issue, and Foye Oluokun with a calf issue. That is the injury report. So that brings us to the Microsoft Surface for a social media question for Jeff Lagaman now, and this is from @GJK_298. What's the importance of potentially getting guys like Marvin Jones and Foley Fatukasi back in the lineup for this week?
Well, a good question, because first and foremost, they're veteran guys that you trust. And I'll start with Marvin Jones. Trevor trusts him to where if it's a 50-50 situation, he's going to throw it because he feels like Marvin's going to either make the catch or make sure that the defender does not make the catch. And it's consistency, and Marvin is a very strong leader with that wide receiver group. When you talk to Zay and you talk to Christian, everybody always talks about the leadership of Marvin Jones. And that's what you want to have, as many guys as you can in the huddle. And with the experience he has, I think that that's really good to have for a young quarterback. Defensively, Fatukasi's a big body, and he's strong, and he can move. And I call him kind of a two-way player. When I say two-way player, he stops the run, but he also can rush the passer. He's not a dominant pass rusher, but he's a push-the-pocket pass rusher, and that's what this defense needs right now because they're not getting a ton from the inside from a push standpoint. That needs to start happening for this group.
I'm curious, we talked a lot about Devin Lloyd and the hamstring injury, of course, in training camp, preseason, missed a lot of that time, and then finally played in the last. They just wanted to make sure it was right before they put him back out there. For a guy like Fatukasi, who's now he had a calf injury earlier in training camp, And now with the quadriceps issue, we're not sure exactly what or where.
Yeah, is it a bruise? Is it a strain?
You don't know. But either way, if you're out there playing, it's every single play you're putting stress on this thing. Is there a concern maybe of putting him out there too quickly?
Well, I think
you still got to play games at some point.
Yeah,
too.
I think there's always a concern, but that's something that Dr. Kevin Kaplan has to kind of assess and give his opinion on it, and then you make a decision off of that information, and also a lot of feedback from the player. When the player talks to Dr. Kevin Kaplan, who, by the way, is the team orthopedist, great guy, great surgeon, whole 9 yards, but when that information is passed from the doctor to the coaching staff and the athletic training staff with Jeff and his guys, then they all get together and make a decision, and the player is involved in that decision.
Can you play on an 85%? That's my question.
I think that's a great question. I think everybody is different.
Yeah.
And with a young player, sometimes you're hesitant to trust what a player's telling you.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need to have a little bit of a track record, or you trust veteran players more because you know that they've been there, they've been through it, they understand their bodies better, they understand the demands of the game. With a young player, they haven't been there yet. They just want to please. I can go. Well, the coaches need to sometimes say, hey, let's take a step back and let's assess this and find out really what can this player contribute for us? Does it make it worth our while to have him active on game day? So with both guys, fortunately, they're veteran guys, and what they're telling you is going to be golden information. So you're going to trust it, and then you make the best decision for the team from a performance standpoint, and you roll forward.
Jamal Agnew, concerning, obviously kick and punt returner, and has been a contributor in moments on the offense.
Yeah, the run that he had this past week, I think, is the one that maybe he got hurt on.
That's what he said to me today.
I thought it was good. He's an X-factor guy. When he gets the ball in space, he can be challenging to stop. And not having him as a returner, first and foremost, again, you lose the trust. This goes again to trust. Coaches want to trust players. Coaches need to trust players. Teammates need to trust teammates. Well, as a kick returner, you're trusting that Jamal Agnew is not going to put the ball on the carpet. He's not going to drop a punt or muff a punt or muff a kick catch. And you know that he's going to catch it, and you feel good about what kind of a return that he's going to get. And with other players, and then on top of that, you're also excited. This goes beyond trust. You're excited about what he could do. Could he go to the house? He's got a career of 8 or 9 returns for touchdowns. Could one of those go? And that part of it, you don't replace that by the next man up mentality. Now, I'll probably be wrong. Whoever plays as punt and kick returner might take one to the house this week for me saying
that'd be a good thing, though. We'll take
that would be okay.
And we'll see about Shaq Griffin, who did not practice 2 days in a row, back issue, and that'll force, if he's not out there, of course, on Sunday, that'll force some changes in the secondary.
Yeah, that's you're prepared for that. If he's not available, which guy that has a back and it doesn't practice 2 days in a row, that's not trending in the right direction, but you never know. There's still Friday left and Saturday, and see what happens.
We'll come back in a moment, and what's going to happen when we come back is we'll get our final thoughts about this Jaguars-Giants matchup on Sunday at TIAA Bank Field. It's the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Can health insurance be a doorway to a healthier life? To yoga classes? To nutrition classes? To nurses you don't need an appointment to see? Or even community specialists who give you access to helpful resources? It can. Our Florida Blue Centers offer all that and a whole lot more. All you have to do is walk through the door. What else can health insurance do? Find out at floridablue.com. Florida Blue, your local Blue Cross Blue Shield. Florida Blue is a trade name of Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida, Inc.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Your pet means the world to you, so Pet Paradise created a slice of paradise just for them. Pet Paradise is your complete pet health care destination with resort-style day camp, overnight boarding, professional grooming, and compassionate veterinary care from New Day, all located under one roof. Pet Paradise has over 50 locations to serve pet fanatics like you nationwide. Book today at petparadise.com, the official pet care provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
With the first pick in the 2022 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the best plumbing and septic company in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked number one?
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is excited to announce we're a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help tackling any type of plumbing or septic issue, call our team of first-round draft picks for the win. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Coming down the home stretch on the Doug Pederson Show in this week 7, J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lagaman. Glad you're with us. Joe Fortunato on the audio side, David Cho, Brent Reber on the video side. Glad you're along with us today on Jaguars.com, Jaguars social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, the Jaguars Radio Network, our flagship in Jacksonville 1010XL, and all of our great stations along the network that carry Jaguars football. Glad to have you along with us. The Giants-Jaguars game is presented by Florida Blue. Florida's Blue Cross and Blue Shield Company has been providing health insurance to residents of Florida for more than 75 years, driven by its mission of helping people and communities achieve better health. Learn more at floridablue.com. The Giants are 5-1. The Jaguars are 2-4. Logs, you like this matchup, it feels like this week.
I do. I think this is going to be a really nice game for the offense. I think Daniel Jones is going to show a little bit of Daniel Jones of old. This defense definitely needs to bounce back, and it's going to be a challenging game with Saquon Barkley, but this defense does a good job stopping the run. Now, they had
the Philly game,
which they gave up some yardage. But I just feel consistently this run defense does a really good job. That's what they do best, consistently. And I think that they can stop Saquon Barkley in this ball game. And then that puts a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones. I just think that the real key, though, is not making the mistakes that have plagued you in the past. If you can avoid them, you win this football game.
It's just Jags' offense going to feel like against the Giants' defense.
Well, very challenging game for Trevor just because of the defensive style that they run. But if you face a defense like this and then you have some success running the football, that opens up a lot of opportunities against a very aggressive defense. And I think the Jaguars have some players that can win down the field. And with the man coverage, I think that's going to be where some big plays are going to end up being had.
Love that. Logs likes it. I think a lot of Jaguars fans should like it. The Giants and the Jags coming up this Sunday. You've got
you need it. You need it.
Gotta have it.
You need this game.
Lost 3 straight.
London's around, next week, and then you got another home game. You got to build some momentum for your football team.
Strings tonight. Jaguars All Access. What you got? Josh
Allen, Travis Etienne, and the famous Brent Martineau.
Wow. How about that?
Yeah, he's a draw himself.
He's a star, that guy.
Yeah, he's great.
No,
Looking forward to it.
Travis Etienne's really good, by the way.
Looking forward to it.
That'll be a great show tonight. Get down to Strings. You can meet Jeff Lagaman in person.
Yeah, they got good beer.
They do.
That's right up your alley, JP.
It is.
Yeah.
One of these nights, I'm going to get down there.
I figured you would. Maybe tonight.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. That's Jeff Lagaman. I'm J.P. Shadrick. Thank you for listening. The Giants and the Jaguars coming up Sunday at TIAA Bank Field. This has been the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.